Heh, talk about being stubborn and full of surprises.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay, so last we left off, you guys had prepared to deal with the arrival of Keith Lombard, and when he showed up, he marched right over to the inn you were staying at because Angelo had flagged it down as under his legal name, we'll say. And so Keith wanted to confront him there, but when he didn't show, decided to go towards the negotiations being
I
held
left him
over
a
by the
little
board.
message to irritate him.
Yeah, and it was there that Angelo confronted him, and he threatened to throw down the primordial storm orb to destroy a large chunk of Emberwell and completely direct all ire towards Tensis. But Kaith, driven so by his own pride and by the dimensional crystal that he was holding, laughed at that and told him to just do it because he was so confident. He was so confident in his own power that he figured, Tensis could basically take on everything.
Imagine being so corrupted and made so arrogant and bold by the dimensional crystal.
Well,
skill issue.
I know that's the way the world sees it, but in Angelo's mind, it was to try and humiliate. It wasn't so much about the Tensis thing, more just he was using that as a pretense to try and humiliate and show. He was trying to make Kaith look weak and flappable, and also look at how much of a fuck up your son is. Angelo was willing to destroy his own reputation as to ruin him, but either way, it didn't work.
My God, a whole family of petty people.
Can you believe it?
So, resulting from that, the Storm Orb was thrown, but Hero stepped in, caught it, and put it away in subspace. And then a fight ensued, wherein a lot of magic was thrown around. Everyone was running. All the diplomats had to be rushed out as the confrontation was happening. The audience was scrambling. It was a messy fight, and Angelo, after him and Felina were caught by Keith, Felina dissipated from the situation, and Angelo was left to take all of the power that Keith was throwing down, and he actually died. But Felina snuck back up on Keith after Scott stepped in and saved Hero.
God.
Used her powers to cut Keith off from his own magic, even though it was a golden thread because it was in his blood, and completely bypassed his guards, and then dragged him over to Angelo's near dead body to use her favor from death to see him, and decided to negotiate and say that that rather than cash it in to just have Angelo be alive, decided to do something a little more interesting and trade Keith's soul for Angelo's. And so Keith was left dead. Angelo revived, and the Emberwell guard rushed in and arrested the four of you who were on stage. The others, like Kochi and the circus people, were
and Scott.
Not. Yeah, it was the four of you. Yeah, you three and Scott.
I thought it was the three of us. Oh no, Sylvana hadn't jumped down.
Yeah. Sylvana, Kochi, and the circus people were not on the stage and had kept themselves hidden enough that they weren't implicated. So it was you four who were arrested
Oh boy, this is going to be a
to
difficult
be
one.
questioned. And so we pick up now. The four of you have been escorted away from the board towards the eastern end of Terrebonne. Of Emberwell, like around over here, let's say, to be processed.
Nice.
And as you're being inspected, are you cooperative?
Yeah, Angelo doesn't. He doesn't resist.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Hero doesn't resist either now.
Yep.
Why
Scott
make the
as
situation
well.
worse?
Yeah, you're being sort of processed. There's there's a machine that all of you go through.
Okay.
What does it do?
What does it do?
Do you ask that?
Well, no, but can I see what it does? What does it do? What do we see? Yeah. Is it like some kind of thing we go through, and on the other side it can see things?
It's
Some-
like
some
an
kind-
arch that you're going through, like a mechanical arch.
So
some
it's,
kind of
is there
ray.
some kind of detector for
Yeah.
various metals.
Yeah.
Sort of. It looks like a metal detector, I guess.
Fucking some metal detector.
Can I roll spout lore to kind of see if I know what this thing is? I was traveled around a bunch.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. No good old spout lore. Hey, I know things.
Good
Nice.
old spout lore. Nothing beats that.
Good old spout lore. I pull out my bag of books as well. I'm just going through it. I better read up on this.
There's actually a guy by the checkpoint, and he has like a screen that pass through it, just lists us like when he walks through human, when Felina walks through cat elf, when Andrew walks through wizard.
Just imagine it's just going like, poor predictable Angelo always chooses a lightning bolt. And Angelo, good old lightning bolt. Nothing beats that. All right, so this is an identification machine
Ah. Huh. It magically...
So I guess I was right on the wall.
powered by the magic that people use to discover true names and such.
Ah.
Nice.
So, does it have all of us on register? I guess that we'll learn that.
Yeah, so after you pass through and you're cleared of any weapons, Scott has a few things taken off of him. Felina,
Wow, Scott.
Do they
we
take...
just see-
Felina's bag appears empty when searched. It's her
Yeah.
Schrodinger's bag.
What the?
Do they take my van braces?
I'm gonna say they do ask you to surrender the van brace.
Alright, I grabbed Dad's as well. But I surrender those.
I have 84 stolen Felina stolen coins. Do they take them?
Nope.
Oh, my other stuff's in my bag, but all saying red, that doesn't come off.
No.
Same
no,
with
no.
blue.
They're not. No, they're only taking
Okay.
weapons. and
Okay, yeah.
augments, stuff like that.
Man, you two have psychic weapons, and granted, I'm a walking nuke, so I guess it really just...
Right, like this once. A wizard, put the choke on him.
You're all four of you are led into actually Hero.
Yeah.
The people searching you look at you and one of them just goes actually all of you are asked to say where is the storm orb? Where is that orb?
Well, Hero just coyly say, not here right now.
Where
Oh,
is
Jesus Christ. Can Felina hear, like, Hero being questioned?
Yeah. You're all together, all four of you.
Okay.
Where
And-
is it? Again, they ask.
The
Well,
what? Yeah, Felina just sort of asked, the what?
The orb he held and threatened with. Where is it?
At this point, no clue. Probably got shattered. That was just a glass ball.
Angelo nods at that. A bluff
They'll-
to throw dear old dad off course.
They look at Hero.
Hero just slowly nods in agreement.
All right, Felina, roll charisma.
Do we help her, by the way?
No need, I guess.
I don't need it.
All right, they just sigh and nod and lead you. They lead you into a room with where you're instructed to sit at chairs opposite ends of a metal table, where you will await a third-party investigator to come in and question you.
Are
third
we
party.
separated or are we together?
No, you're together.
Okay.
Okay. Question: does one of the guards that walk out? Actually, I like to imagine that one of the guards that walk out take a look at Felina and just mutters, "Fucking elves."
No.
And
Uh,
while we're sitting at the table when we're left waiting for the investigator, Angelo just kind of Angelo takes out. No, Angelo just kind of gestures his hand, like he puts it on the table and gestures his hand towards Felina, and just kind of other hand points at his head, just kind of gesturing.
Felina's, eyes are not quite sure what he's getting at. First, okay, I'm gonna look around the room with my sight beyond.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was trying to. Actually, I won't say what it was. I'll just leave it to. Yeah.
Okay. Is something lying in wait? Like, are they spying on us? Are we under observation?
Yeah, you're under some observation. There's like a slit in the door that is being peered through by a guard posted out there.
Okay.
They're occasionally looking in. They're not like constantly.
There's not like
They're
some
feeling
like magic microphone or something. We're not wired.
No.
Okay, cool. That's all I needed.
Oh, okay. Angelo expands his
yeah.
thing. He puts one of his hands on the table towards you, like either a handshake, grab his hand, or the other one points towards his head, and then like a mouth flapping, and then points towards his head again. Okay, nothing.
Wait, yeah, no, this isn't. Yeah, as a player on a meta level, I'm not getting it.
Should I just say?
No. I think I just got it. Never mind. Yeah,
But does Felina get it?
I think so. Well, Felina was gonna say,
I mean, Angelo was immediately paranoid they would be listening in. He doesn't
Yeah.
have sight beyond, but that was
Yeah.
He was immediately on. Hey, we need a way to communicate that can't be heard.
No, but Felina basically leans in, and sort of covering her mouth, no lip syncing, leans in. They don't have us, they're not listening in or something other than just looking through the slit in the door. If we whisper, just, make sure you cover your mouths if you want to say anything. If you want, I can possess you to, like if you don't want to have to,
No.
lie under oath or anything like that.
No. If whispering will do it, I just wanted to be sure. What's the play here?
Well, I was going to ask you that, as our legal representation, as I presume I will be. I'm pretty sure I could, get this talked down to, like, a simple bluff, whatever, like, go with the story. This was, like, a bluff, found out that Kate Lombard was, planning something with these crystals and going to jeopardize the peace talks and, like, potentially kill a lot of people. And, we did a public service stop and tried to save lives, and using a bluff. You, for obvious reasons, knew he had the storm orb, and just claimed that, that we had that to try and, catch him off guard. And in the fight, he ended up getting overconfidence and, was consumed by his own magic. But even that, can probably get that talked down to, like, disturbing the peace, essentially, I'm sure even, with doing a public service and all that,
We just
still
we just
interrupted the peace,
disrupted and made
terrified, yeah.
Yeah. But
Gave a lot of people a good scare.
There's one thing that... perhaps an illusion, because they're going to say if that wasn't even the storm orb, why is there no remnants of glass? Why did Hero go to catch it? But could run that down as distraction, illusion.
I was gonna say, Hero doesn't even know. Well, he didn't know it wasn't the storm orb. He isn't necessarily in the loop at that much. This was your plan, and he was just there.
I'm here.
That's true. Don't worry about it, Hero. If it comes to the worst, that was my plan that I hoisted on you two at the end there. And
that's a point. That is true. You were not in the loop for that plan, Hero. All you knew was that Kaith was problem, and you were hoping to stop him, same as Angelo here was.
Alright.
And Scott, just an innocent bystander caught up in the commotion.
Actually, where is Scott?
He's
in here with us.
you.
Oh, there he is.
He sat right behind you, and you say that like,
And you're all sat next to each other.
Alright, that's...
But that's my point being, even getting that, even if I can work a legal miracle and, get this stuff, all charges dropped, the cogs of justice turn slowly and Felina kind of glances back at Hero. I don't think we have a lot of time to waste, but...
No.
That's your call if you want to, get out of here a bit early. But sacrifice your, become a wanted man in Emberwell.
I'd say if we have to do it, we do it.
I didn't plan to go get wanted, but I guess you need to do what you need to do. Or,
Just know, Hero, there's a difference between being a criminal and being a bad guy.
True.
So true, Felina says.
And some people are both.
Some, yes, but I'd say fleeing the city to save your family that could probably be overlooked.
Speaking of bad guys, it's a shame that we couldn't get Felina's dad to represent us.
What? Excuse me, are you not happy with your legal representation?
I've had you as my legal representation before.
It worked, didn't it? We're free right now. She just got me off with death, I think.
That's true. I have a bad feeling about this.
My point being, I can get these charges greatly reduced and, certainly save your public image, but, again, that takes time. But if we, blam it, after what you pulled, that's not going away. You're gonna, they're gonna be looking for, they're gonna have your name and picture up everywhere, like terrorism, jeopardizing the peace talks. That's following you the rest of your life. There's no talking that down once you've fled from police custody.
Actually, Angelo has the greatest idea.
You mean Hero?
No, sure.
Okay, what plan did I hatch?
Well, I actually curious. I wonder what that identification thing said you were.
It probably knew me as Kate Lombard.
Yeah, I'm just saying Angelo isn't averse to, get new identities.
Angelo just kind of like stares ahead at the door and says, "Well, I could leave Angelo behind as well." But
I
Yeah,
can maybe help you with that. But
that's for another time.
that's a bell you don't unring.
It's fine.
what would you?
If it comes to it, I'm not too concerned.
But what would you name yourself then?
Well,
Well, how about you, Hero? Are you,
What do you mean?
amenable to exiting here the less than legal way?
Normally I wouldn't, but considering what's at stake, yeah, no,
let's just see what happens. We'll spend a little bit
Yeah.
of time here. As Felina says, the wheels of justice turn slowly. If they hold us up but let us roam, and it sounds like it's going to take too long, we'll make our move. Though
Yeah.
the problem is, Angelo says, looking at Scott, and looking at Felina as well, this may not work for all of us. I'm a
Yeah,
one.
sad.
I have no ties left. Hero, your ties are elsewhere. Scott, Felina, that's a bigger risk for you two.
I'm wanted in enough places. Scott. Just
Oh, Scott,
solemnly
don't,
says.
Oh, don't worry. Can take you as a hostage.
Oh,
don't worry, Scott. Everything will be fine. Smash cut to courtroom, and the judge just goes, "Scott, death."
okay.
Okay, Felina says.
Everyone else got off scot free, not Scott.
Free.
Felina does say, as the wheels of justice turn slowly on all, I might be able to swing it that we could get out on bail, and then, hey, at that rate, could sneak out of the city, deal with this whole situation real quick, hopefully, and get back here for trial. I mean, that's still, illegal.
The
But
worst thought has suddenly just struck Angelo as you said that, which is, wait, do I have inheritance? Does
that's good.
like Angelo actually, yeah, and Angelo just says, wait, do I have inheritance? He never spoke about that.
Felina
Do you get
freezes,
inheritance if you're-
pauses, then starts thinking.
Do
Felina is-
you get inheritance if you very publicly are involved in the death of your dad?
Yeah, but you didn't kill him. That's
But I did have a fucking big go at him.
He seared his eyeball out.
Yeah, that'll be tricky to talk about with a lawyer. That's thoughts for another
Lawyers
day.
can be
That's-
understanding. Yeah.
Yes, K. Flambard Jr. Here, you get your father's fortune, or as he wrote it in his letter. I'll give I'll give
He
my
gets
fortune.
name. He gets to
No.
remove Junior.
No, I was gonna say, like, I, Keith Lombard of sound mind and body, hereby decree when I die, I give up my vast fortune and property to myself.
That's really good.
Felina does think, though, I mean, but you raise a good point. Surely the aim was for you to inherit all of it. That was the whole point of all of it.
I wonder if that changed in the last few years with in the last while with the disappearance and not like he had time to update the records then.
Yeah, and what? Who was he going to give it to? Your sister? Like...
I will not spare
The money was
time.
actually going to go to an experimental cloning technique to just, He actually, if Angelo doesn't work out, I have this homunculus that my soul will possess its body in the event of my death.
And then if Angelo did work out, then Angelo would have to raise his own dad as a homunculus baby.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh.
What a freakish dynasty.
So, the door starts to open,
And in steps.
and in walks a woman in dark leather armor, carrying a notepad. She has a sword at her side. She closes the door behind her, and she looks at you and says, "All right, let's get this underway."
Let's.
She sits
Gold.
down opposite the four of you. Says that it says my name is Interrogator McKinney. You'll be calling me I'm Interrogator McKinney. I'll be
McKinney?
conducting what?
McKinney?
McKinney.
Okay.
Interrogator McKinney. I'll be conducting this interview on behalf of the city of Emberwell.
Nice to meet you.
So,
Hello.
and you are Keith Lombard Jr. of Tenzis,
Angelo nods.
Felina Skimperbell of Terrebonne,
Yeah, Felina, agrees.
Hiro Hasagawa of the island of Anoth,
Yes, that's me.
and Scott Maxis from
Maxis?
Vision Spring.
Huh.
Maxus.
Everyone says Max is at him.
That's a hell of a name. Anyways.
I trust you all understand why you've been brought into custody.
Felina looking over at Scott. That one might not. For the rest of us, I suppose.
If any of you have need and the means to acquire legal counsel, then alert me, and we shall allow you to step out and see if you can and acquire.
Angelo turns and looks at Felina.
I'm legal counsel.
Very well. She writes something down.
Though,
God, they are morons.
Just writes in the notepad, "This will be easy."
though I may need to talk to some co-counsel at some point, but for the moment, I think we can progress.
Very well.
No, Felina is our counselor, but Felina has her own counselor.
Angelo's just going through the story in his head in Grand, and like, even with the lies they've got now, it all sounds very, very bizarre. We were traveling with a circus because her boyfriend got arrested, and then we found, and there was a big thing with the crystals, and his best friend was pulled into another dimension. We went
Oh,
out.
I'm-
Now,
I understand you entered Emberwell through the humanese. She thinks
Humanoff.
the Yuma method.
yes.
We did.
I always thought of it as you many for the adjective or demonym, whatever. I don't know why.
And
So
you did
in my brain, it would have defaulted to human, but yeah, that's a tricky one. That or humany, yeah, I can see what you mean.
The Yuma representative has offered to advocate on your behalf. That you were brought here to confront and see to the aversion of a catastrophe, as he had put it.
That's correct. Interrogator.
Right. So, and you were in Emberwell for a couple of days when Keith Lombard Sr. arrived and decided to come to the negotiations being held at the board. It was there that you confronted him, let's say. Any disagreements with those events?
Not disagreements.
No?
Keith Lombard Jr. held aloft an orb and claimed it to be a magical weapon of sorts and threatened to cast it down on those very grounds. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
He did claim that, yes.
Yes.
And then he threw it, and Mr. Hasegawa caught it.
I did.
A fight ensued, during which many diplomats and journalists and members of the audience were put into grave danger. Magic was thrown about. Magic was thrown about. Punches were thrown. And at the end of it all, we had Keith Lombard Sr. lying dead on the floor. Correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
And then you all surrendered when Emberwell's guards arrested you. And now we are here.
That's right.
Now I have a number of questions I'd like to go through. Number one, how did you all get into the negotiations to start with?
Um.
I mean, same as anyone else, just entering the building.
None of you were processed through the channels that Keith Lombard Sr. was. You all simply appeared.
I suppose, no one, said anything to anyone at any point. No one stopped anyone from entering. If there was, some security measures, that's frankly on your end that they weren't enforced.
None of our security council have attested to seeing you enter through any of those channels.
Again, if the channels were insufficient, that really isn't any of our business, frankly. If I may, would you allow me to start at the beginning and, explain from my client's point of view what happened and, what led them to this room and everything? I think that might be, at
I'm
least
asking-
answers
I'm asking the question.
as you like.
So you claim to have entered through the general channels that all the journalists, diplomats, and audience members had entered through.
I couldn't speculate about how journalists and other audience members entered.
Could you tell me which channel you used?
I suppose I wouldn't know any, how you have them named or categorized or things like that. Entered the building no different than I enter plenty of buildings.
He writes that down. And any comments from the rest of you on this matter?
No.
Could be a matter of intimidation. The person at the inn desk was rather taken aback by who I was.
So how did you enter the negotiations? The conference room?
Angelo just turns Felina. Basically, as she said, we entered the building as much as anyone else did, whether or not it was logged. That's more an indictment of the security team than what we did.
And you can't recall exactly which path you took to enter.
Once we went through the usual channels, the building was sprawling. It's been a good few
Which
years.
channel?
The typical ones.
Which one?
Can I
Typical
roll a
ones.
spout law to
Sure.
yeah? Because I might have been brought around here, travelled a lot as a kid. I don't know. Out of character, I don't know any of the specific names.
Okay, so there are several ways to enter the board. Most people will enter them. Some there are many will, and the companies that contribute to the board all have personal passages to the board, so you to enter through there, and others are filtered through are filtered through elevators that reach down to the ground.
What about? Is there anything that would be in particular for like visiting diplomats or people from outside the city on business or what have you?
They would often be hosted by a board company.
Did I know anything about what Cave's connections were in that regard?
He would have simply taken the he would have taken he would have taken what was called for the path from the company that's called pipeline.
This is all going to bite us in the ass anyway when they go and ask questions. So I think it's just thinking time. I used pipeline. They hosted my father. They basically rolled over for me.
And did the rest of you enter the same way? She asks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hero.
Yeah. No, Felina looks at Hero.
Who's currently having a stroke.
Scott looks at Felina for seeing if she has a signal. If he should answer yes or no. Just go along with Angelo's proclamation that it was through that company.
Felina just sort of, basically, non-committal. It doesn't matter too much at this point. Felina's already committed to, she didn't enter the same way, and just sort of playing. I don't know what the different entrances and whatnot are called. Went through a door or whatever. What do you want from me?
So Felina's not saying that she went through pipeline.
Correct.
All right.
If Hero wants to say, or Scott wants to just use that as a entered with Angelo, that should be fine, but already going with a, that they don't. Felina does kind of try and subtly signal to Scott to, say no. That he did not enter with Angelo.
Well, I didn't enter with Angelo. I entered alongside her.
From there, from going up through pipeline, I just bided my time until my father had entered the building.
Right. Now then. And Hero, how did you answer? Did you accompany Angelo or?
Did I accompany Angelo?
So Swede, because you stepped away for a moment, was being asked how did we enter the building? Official channels or sneak in? Angelo fished in his memory and remembered that his father was hosted by a company called Pipeline, and he used their elevator. Felina has been very vague in her answer of I just went through a door, and Scott went with, what did Scott go with?
Scott went with I just followed her.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Just sort of, like, what the fuck do you mean, like, what channel? I walked into a like, I don't even know how many entrances this building has, much less what each entryway is called,
So yeah, what's your thing? Are you saying are you gonna? I don't know. How did Hero enter?
You know,
Yeah,
I forget how Hero actually entered.
he teleported up, I
Last-
believe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he teleported up where people weren't looking.
Yeah,
I-
would generally recommend, Felina, obviously our ability to communicate is limited, but, it's up to you. If you want to say you went in, just tagged along with Angelo, with the story Felina's going with, you guys,
I think
at
given the
least on
scenario,
some
yeah, I think given the
degree we're
scenario we're
collaborating.
in, us becoming a flight risk is becoming more and more likely by the moment. We'll see.
But I would
Yes.
definitely not let them know you could teleport.
It's not teleporting. It's slipstreaming.
Oh my god.
You're painting his whole his whole family culture.
Hero just says, "Well, I slipped in."
Well, I
Don't say that.
Don't say that.
well, I slipped in using the regular channels.
Slipped in.
Oh,
Yeah.
for fuck's sake. This is gonna be fun.
And
Felina is like stepping very hard on Hero's foot right now.
Lenny.
Was this the same channel as Keith, or was this the same channel as Scott and Felina?
Here he goes, Cave. Oh yeah, no.
I brought him up with me. He's a bit slow.
More than a bit.
Noted.
I guess saw a man die. Okay.
Indeed.
And that is compounding on top of the problems that are ever present.
What problems?
Don't worry about it, Hero.
Anyway, Hero. So, what is your actual name, Mr. Hero?
Now then, as Keith Senior had entered the board, many have attested that he was acting quite strange, perhaps a bit hostile, when
That makes sense.
somewhat had a threatening aura about him. And that was when his son floated down and called out to him. So, why did you decide to float down, confront your father, and hoist that orb?
Well, it started when I
If-
was born.
So, let's begin.
If I may.
You may.
May I
Angelo
answer
actually does look a bit
promptly?
annoyed, but he does say you may. He's kind of like looking at you.
Yeah.
Very well. You may.
So, my clients, both Keith Jr. here and Hero, had recently been doing some heroic work, most recently down in Yuma. There is some sort of force that has corrupted various entities throughout the world, including, most recently, there was a Hydra that had been magically empowered and corrupted, agitated, was attacking Yuma. And these men here saved Yuma, really, from the Hydra. Point being, it was discovered through some magic, and Keith Jr. here used his, blood ties to Senior to find this out using some scrying, that Keith Sr. was also affected by this magical force. And we didn't know, or they didn't know exactly what he was planning, but knew that it would be very bad for both Emberwell and all the kingdoms and cities of Hemlock as a whole. Certainly jeopardize the peace talks and potentially kill a lot of people. And so that's why, with the help of Yuma, we talked to some officials who were aware of this and went to try and stop it. Problem was, as I'm sure you know, Keith Sr. is was a very well connected man. And that's, spending the days before trying to ascertain who Keith had talked to, who he was working with, and exactly what he was planning. Didn't get a ton of information, so that being said, no one wanted to go to, if they had just their decision, if they had reported this, they didn't know who would pick it up. Probably would have gotten back to Keith Sr. himself, and he likely would have done something drastic, not thinking in his right mind. So the goal was, at the last minute, with still not having enough information, to try and talk him down and get him to surrender without conflict, without fighting, which failed. That's why Keith Jr. entered as he did and performed a bluff with a storm orb, hoping that as far gone as Keith Sr. was at that time, even he would have to, be drawn back to reality somewhat. Calm down, see reason, and de-escalate the situation. Unfortunately, as you saw, Keith Sr. was a bit too far gone for that even, at that point already, and he chose violence instead. The bluff failed.
If you've been aware of Keith Lombard for any stretch of time, you would know his politics. You knew his position on the war, and that it should be ongoing. From what little we know about the corrupting influence of that which we're after, it worsens a person's worst qualities.
What was the source of this corrupting influence?
Magic of some sort.
Void magic.
Void magic, you say?
We're not experts.
What form did it take?
Angelo looks at Felina, just kind of a look of, should we? Because basically, if we tell the complete truth, they're probably going to confiscate that.
Yeah, no. Felina's not really sure, really. That's one of the many things we're trying to investigate further, trying to understand this magic more. But
we were hoping that in bluffing him into giving it up, we would learn that ourselves.
seems to affect the mind more than anything, but they do seem somewhat more powerful than usual as well.
Well, all right. You claim that storm orb to have been a bluff.
I may have been playing it up in there to try and throw him off guard, but to what end would I throw something like that at my feet with several people who I know and respect in the building? It would be suicide, effectively. That wouldn't achieve any goal that I'm after.
Why did Hero need to catch it?
He was
These two were not what you would say coordinated. The whole thing, as I understood, I hadn't even found out they had left to go do something. As far as I was aware, they were still investigating, but with the peace talks going, they both just decided to go and try and do something. They did not go in with much of a plan.
Only I was privy to what my opening gambit would be.
Yeah, that thing took me by surprise, That's why I caught it.
And it being a bluff, an illusion, that's why it's not on his person anymore.
Yeah.
Well, now then, has this escalated into violence?
Violence, but there was no need to get violent.
Were you intending to? You were hoping to avoid a fight.
For many
I
reasons.
was-
For many reasons, yes.
And so when you did engage in violence with Keith Sr., was your intention to kill him?
Angelo shakes his head. Incapacitation. But very dangerous given the circumstances. And when it became clear that his intent was lethal and aimed at my friends, that's when plans had to change.
I would like it pointed now on the record that my client did not kill Keith Lombard Sr.
And let me
Who did?
elucidate a little on what I just said. I mean, I wasn't intending to kill, but I stepped up what I was doing, let's say. Attempts to knock out became attempts to incapacitate, make him no longer able to be a threat.
So you say he did not kill his father. Who did?
Keith Sr. did. He did it himself. And hubris, I suppose.
You're saying he killed himself.
Not deliberately, at least I certainly don't imagine so. I can't speculate as to what was going on in his mind, but seemed to be as he was trying to attack his own son with lightning. His son avoided the attack, and I mean, I'm no physicist, but with how lightning tends to work, it needs to go somewhere, and as a spectator, it looked like all that power that was meant to, surge from him into Keith Jr. had nowhere to go, and just all of that went into Senior, and in trying to kill his son, it overwhelmed him, and he died instead. I'm no doctor, I'm certainly not magic, but as an observer, that would be my characterization of what I saw.
Yes, she writes something down. And writes a few more things down.
These people are idiots.
They are all getting the chair. Brackets.
They-
Maybe not
they-
Keith Lombard Jr. That might not do anything.
They really think they can get away. They really think they can trick me. They really. Jesus Christ, holy shit. Also, Scott is wanted.
I'm going to kill Scott the hardest for no reason.
I don't like how Scots look at me. God, I can't believe that the party just ends here and the whole island is gonna die.
Yeah, we're getting sent to Guantanamo. It's gonna be fucked up.
What is the Hemlock equivalent of Guantanamo?
I feel like I could see Tarrant having its equivalent. I mean, they do have, an island, the Mandala School or whatever, off the coast.
Yeah, but
Maybe that is their...
Maybe. I mean, it's not really... That doesn't really belong to them, though. They just kind of entered an alliance.
Gotcha. I feel like Larimer definitely has a Guantanamo,
yeah.
though.
I was trying to remember Larimer to say that was the Guantanamo.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're just frozen in the clockwork desert. Was it?
They just pretend it's a city. Maybe it's somewhere in the Emerald Forest, where you just wouldn't expect it to be.
They'll throw us in the coal mines.
Maybe Terrebonne is a Guantanamo. They just force you to live in Terrebonne. That's
oh
the
god,
torture.
I can't imagine anything worse.
Well, this has been an elucidating conversation. Do any of you have any extra remarks you'd like to leave?
I'll say, having grown up under that man, you don't know the evils and cruelties he was capable of behind closed doors, and he only got worse as the years went on. I don't know, even if he had come here without any corrupting influence on him, whether it would have been beneficial to the future of Hemlock. All I can say is, given the state he was in, I don't think we did the wrong thing. as confusing
Felina, yeah.
as confusing as our actions may be when you don't know fully what we know, we didn't do wrong, I don't believe.
Felina also speaks up. I would also like to add for the record, since you hadn't asked, the reason, if it wasn't already apparent, just stating it clearly for the record, the reason I was in the building was found out that these two had gone and thought they might need assistance or might get in trouble or anything like that, and I wanted to make sure they would be okay, or that if they needed help. Granted, I'm also, and Felina's like, I mean, look at me, I have business being in a fight, like, a 6-year-old does. But, that's why I had this guy, come with me. Scott, he's a capable, strapping young man, just a worker that I had gotten to know, and just wanted an escort going into the situation. He is not particularly involved in these two.
Very well. Yeah.
Yeah, never seen him.
Well, that's main hero.
He's trying just to help. He's just trying to help Scott.
Just trying to help.
Kaif Lombard Jr., Felina Skimperbell, Hiro Hasagawa. You three are free to. You three are free to. You three have been put on bail.
Oh,
How much?
You've been paid. Your bail has been paid for.
Oh,
wait, what?
Who?
Wait,
by
when did?
by a group led by Mr. Arias. That
can't
you
give
had
us a
around
day off
the
work.
city with.
Can't give us a
And-
day off work, huh, Scott?
We would like you to stay in the city for at least a day while we follow up on a few other questions. However, I don't see anything to charge you with given these circumstances and as they currently stand. Scott Maxis, are you aware we have your father in custody?
Dun dun dun.
Scott immediately freezes up. Excuse me, ma'am? Your father, Bartholomew Maxis. He was, for his actions during the war, he had sought refuge in some parts of the mountain before arriving here in Emberwell, where he was found out in a seedier area. He's implicated you in quite a few things, so we're going to have to take you to a different room
Wait,
for further follow-up.
he implicated
Scott
him.
freezes up. It's like, my father told you about...
I would still like to offer my services as an attorney to you. Felina says to Scott.
Yeah, Scott looks at you and he's like shaking. He's like, yeah, I have an attorney.